You like wrestling games, right? You like playing online or playing offline and making great superstars and just having fun beating the living hell out of your opponent. Well, this video is nothing about that, because we're going to show you some of the more infamous mistakes when it comes to WWE games. Yes, I am Will Tennant, aka It's My Yard, and over the course of over 2 decades we have seen a notorious amount of bugs and glitches that THQ or 2K haven't fixed straight away, and has led to some hilarious and sometimes really annoying results. So let me guide you through some of the more epic moments in the history of WWE games, as I like to call a bit of Botchamania. Ever his own little showcase, because he would have to face Papa Shango at WrestleMania. The same person but 2 different gimmicks. I mean, it's like Kane facing Fake Diesel, or Isaac Yang and DDS, or better still, having Dolph Ziggler face Nikki. Had someone bothered to test the DLC, they would have noticed it, because pretty much anyone that played this particular match within 5 minutes would have heard this line of commentary, and I'm going to show you it uncut. It's a little funny little aspect. It's certainly not the worst bug, but we've got more stuff to show you folks.
The Godfather is clearly one of the most popular superstars on the card tonight, but there was a time back in 2000 that he wasn't very well received by the WWE Universe.
You mean back when he was the Godfather? Yeah, the fans definitely didn't like him then, but you know what? He was a winner, and that's what counts. In fact, he won the World Tag Team Championship that year with his fellows right to... In fact, he won the World Tag Team Championship that year with his fellow Right to Censor member. Yeah, and... Oh, you're right. Ready? Oh, you mean back when he was the Good Father? Whoa. Yeah, the fans definitely didn't like him then, and I didn't either. But you know what? He was a winner, and that's what counts. In fact, he won the World Tag Team Championship that year with his fellow Right to Censor member.
Every January, the road to WrestleMania begins as we enter the Royal Rumble. Now, in WWE 12, we had the first ever 40-man Royal Rumble match, which meant more insane things, and THQ decided to up the game by having a 12-man online Rumble match. That sounds awesome, right? But if you know WWE games as well as I know them, you know there's always a catch when it comes to online. Oh, what's that? Oh yes, the servers were terrible. Yes, they were atrocious. They were mind-numbingly bad. If it wasn't 1v1, it was always going to be laggy, or you had disconnects, or you couldn't connect at all. And this was very much the case for the Royal Rumble match. Now, don't get me started about there only being 6 people in the ring maximum at one time. I mean, we've only just gotten 8 people when it came to 2K18, and even then, you can't even play 8 people online. So what's the point? It's crazy talk, isn't it? But having 12 people online to play this Rumble match, and 6 of you won't be able to play for a good portion of the match, is kind of lackluster. In all honesty, it defiled what was meant to be a fun mode. And Rumble matches aren't great anyway, because it normally means whip, punch, grapple, quick time event. It was not spectacular. Even 2K18 with its improvements still has the little drawbacks of that old system still being in play. Look, Wade Barrett's eliminating people by himself by doing barely any moves. I mean, where's the real life effects of it? You know, it's crazy. But the servers were never fixed, and now the servers are now gone because THQ are no longer with us in this incarnation. So, alas, we never got the dream of a Royal Rumble match online. Maybe soon we will. Arguably one of the best wrestling games of all time in my honest opinion, WWE All-Stars came near the end of THQ's life cycle and is one of the games I would continue to play online if it wasn't for the servers being permanently shut when THQ had its unfaithful demise. Now, yes, the superstars look like they're on steroids. Kind of ironic, don't you think, considering the scandal in the 90s? The gameplay was smooth and using a modified engine that was first used by TNA Impact's video game by Midway. I still think it's better than the current 2K18 system. In fact, it copies a lot from All Stars and TNA Impact, because you could do crazy things like hit 3 people at once with strikes and be able to counter moves in mid-air with other grapples, and the only 2K18 is slowly starting to do that with certain maneuvers. This had a nice fresh aspect to it. You could reverse moves into other moves seamlessly. But there was a little snag, and it came in their DLC, and his name was Mark Henry. Well, R-Truth had a little bit of an issue as well, but Mark Henry totally broke the game, because his move combo, which was so easy to pull off, took a full bar of health off. It was ridiculous. I mean, and it gained so much signature momentum and got you to your finisher so damn quick. You could endlessly combo had you do it perfectly again and again and again, and your opponent had no way of stopping the combo. So it varied between how you got them on the ground, but you had to bounce them up, grapple them, strong strike them so they bounced, and just rinse and repeat continuously. It was insane. Absolutely insane. There's not much to say. It stopped people playing online. It was that bad of a maneuver. And yes, he turned into Braun Strowman for this particular signature maneuver. Yes, Braun stole it from Mark Henry in WWE All Stars. Ultimately though, people had massive fun, and multi-man matches and tag team matches I think are the fairest part of the game ever and require a lot of teamwork. So if they ever make an All Stars 2, and considering the amount of views that people like Denkops and myself have done over the years on these All Stars videos, I hope and pray that 2K listens. I really do. The Elimination Chamber, 6 men or women inside that steel structure, one by one being eliminated. And ever since Here Comes the Pain, the game mode has basically remained unchanged. Even 2K18 with the new chamber has only really had an aesthetic appeal. There's not been much more gameplay changes, so you wouldn't think there'd be many bugs in the game, especially let's say 4 or 5 years down the line. Well, in 2009 that happened to be the case, where they didn't even fix the turnbuckles. Yes, that's right folks, you couldn't whip or strike your opponent into the turnbuckles whatsoever. Something so blatantly easy to fix that THQ never bothered fixing. Never bothered fixing. They had a whole year, didn't bother fixing it, and they did patch the game. That's what makes things even crazier. They added DLC to the game, but no, let's not patch the stupidly simple bug. I mean, getting onto the top turnbuckle was hard enough job as it was in Elimination Chamber, and you see Undertaker as the AI trying to run up it. But it was just really, really difficult, and it really made the game very boring. You just couldn't get up to that top chamber pod without a huge amount of difficulty. And the chamber matches are fine, they're nice, and we want to see some huge changes when it comes to 2K19. But if you can't get that problem fixed, where would you go from there? But thankfully, we have 2K now and not THQ. So it can't be that bad, right? If there was one mode that could be vastly improved and increased with 2K's help with motion capture, it would be Create a Finisher. It hasn't seen play since it came to PS4 and Xbox One, but needless to say, it was very fun about making custom moves. Apart from this one little botch that happened in Smackdown vs. Raw 2009, the same game that happened with the Elimination Chamber. And yes, THQ again could have patched this, but they decided not to in their infinite wisdom. By performing this particular concept of moves, we'll say, it is purely a concept, because who on earth would choke their opponent for 10 years? It would kill them. Well, it definitely kills them in terms of damage. A clear John Cena goes from 0 to 100 in terms of damage in a very short space of time thanks to one move. Yes, they thought, oh, that's not broken at all, is it? Well, it was, especially online. But for John Cena, he no-sells it anyway, so what difference does it make? Certainly broke online with custom superstars for many, many times and months and games. Dig diggity, dig diggity dog. WWF No Mercy, one of the greatest wrestling games of all time, so much so that it gets emulated and mods still to this day on the PC. But the N64 version didn't come without some controversy when it first got released. Why? Because a lot of the game cartridges were broken. Not like Matt Hardy, but they definitely were completely broken. So much so that your save file would miraculously disappear after several hours of gameplay. For me personally, I hadn't even unlocked everything and it would randomly wipe out. And I thought, oh no, I'd cry my eyes out and I'll just restart. And then it happened again. And then it happened again. It took a good 4-5 months for THQ to release alternative cartridges that had this game-breaking bug fixed, because there wasn't DLC back then, guys, or patches. They had to do a full product recall on the products, and to find any cartridges of the original versions is probably getting harder and harder to find for that pure reason. Not like No Mercy is worth much on N64 anyway, but if you can find an original box version, good for you. You have a giant paperweight that will hold your pieces of paper as you cry into your little tissues that the game keeps breaking down every time you play it. Yes, if only they had quality control, but THQ would never know the quality control, were they? Considering how many bugs and issues we've talked about over this video. Yes, there's been quite a few, hasn't it? And there's loads more over the course of 2 decades. You've got a favourite one? Please leave it in the comments section below, and we'll make even more videos about the hilarious bugs, glitches and mistakes that WWE Games have done over the years, both 2K, THQ, LGN and more. So thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more WWE gaming goodness.